What's up guys, so in this video I'm going to teach you exactly how to write SEO content that ranks #1 on Google. Now this process is actually simpler than you think. It's easier than you think to write content that ranks #1 on Google, as long as you have a good blueprint for this process. And that's exactly what I'm going to teach you in this video. So if you want content that ranks #1, then make sure you keep watching. By the way, before we jump into the video, please make sure you subscribe if you want more SEO content that's going to increase your rankings, get you more traffic, make more money with your website. So the thing is, when it comes to writing content that ranks #1 on Google, this is easier than you think. You don't need to overcomplicate it, but you do need to have a good process, a good blueprint, step by step, that you can run through to quickly create and write content that ranks #1 on Google. And the other thing is as well, when it comes to content creation and SEO, this isn't just about writing the content. You need to promote it, you need to plan it properly so that you can save a lot of time and frustration along the way and create great content that actually ranks #1 on Google and Google's algorithm rewards you for. So that's exactly what I'm going to teach you in this video, because I've spent the last 5 years running my own websites and helping hundreds of clients increase their rankings with search engine optimization. For example, on my YouTube channel, I've often referenced my websites like chipperbirds.com and datingsidekick.com, because these are two websites I've recently ranked #1 by creating content for SEO that actually ranks. And it's really not a complicated process, okay? It doesn't take a lot of time, but you just need to have the right blueprint involved. So what does that involve? Well, my 3-stage blueprint is, first of all, to plan your content, so to create blog outlines, then to actually write the content, so to produce the content in the article that you're going to create, and then finally to promote it. And in fact, promoting your content is even more important than writing it. So if you want to write content that ranks #1 on Google, you need to promote it, you need to build backlinks to it, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you in this video. So when it comes to creating great blog outlines, this is really about understanding what is your customer looking for when they type a keyword into Google, okay? So you have to kind of reverse engineer the process and figure out, what are they thinking? What are they looking for? And how can you solve that problem with your content? So for example, you can type in a keyword on Google, let's say, I don't know, how to rank #1 on Google, and you'll see not just who's ranking for that particular question already, but also a list of the questions people are typing in that are related to that keyword. And that gives you an idea of the problem you can solve with your content. Because if you look at these questions, you can quickly figure out, okay, this is what my customer is looking for when they type this keyword into Google. These are the problems that I can solve. These are the questions that I need to answer to make sure that I write the best blog possible. And it's so important to plan this out in a blog outline first, because you want to understand, okay, what's the structure of your content? What headings are you going to include? What questions are you going to answer? What sort of statistics and case studies will you reference? And basically, how can you write all of this in the most concise, simple, but efficient way possible? And it's not about writing like the craziest, longest blog article in the world. It's about answering your customer's question as soon as you possibly can in the best possible way, so that when they jump on your site, they quickly get the information they need, but also they think well of your brand afterwards. So they're like, right, this resource is amazing. I love this blog. Maybe I'll check out more content. Maybe I'll even book in a call or buy one of the products. That's the type of customer experience you want to create when people bounce on your site. Now, blog outlines are very important for productivity too, because when it actually comes to sitting down and writing your content, if you have no idea what you're going to write about or the structure, which I've made this mistake in the past, then you can waste hours actually creating the content, because you're too busy researching and getting distracted along the way, instead of planning out your content efficiently before you sit down and write it. Now, if you want a really good way to create blog outlines, then check out my other tutorial on Phrase.io. This is a very powerful platform where you can quickly type in a keyword, research all the necessary elements of your blog outline, and then automate your content brief in about a minute. So it will save you a lot of time, and it's a very powerful way to create blog outlines that are well researched too. And that brings me on to stage number 2, which is actually writing your content. Now, the best piece of advice I can give you when it comes to writing your content is not to overcomplicate it. Okay, keep it simple, keep it concise, keep it easy to read, and when you're writing your content, split it out into a format that's very digestible, okay? So keep your paragraphs short, keep your sentences short, use easy to understand language. Don't overcomplicate things. And also write for the person reading the content, not for Google's algorithm, okay? So you may be tempted to think, right, if I stuff a load of keywords into my content, then it's gonna rank number one. And therefore, I should write for Google's algorithm, not for the person actually reading the content. But the problem with this is that your content won't feel natural. It won't feel human. And when people actually jump onto your content, they'll bounce straight off because they don't like it. It doesn't make any sense, or it's overcomplicated, or you've mentioned the keyword 15 times in one article. So make sure that when you're writing your content, you think about who's reading it and how can you deliver the information they need in the easiest to understand way. And if you do that, you will get much better results with SEO. Because the other thing is as well, ranking your content is important, but when you actually rank number one on Google, you need to make sure that anybody who reads your content stays on the page and interacts with your content, because Google has a certain metric in place where it analyzes who jumps onto your content and then bounces straight off. And if people are just going straight onto your content, realizing they're not getting the answer they need, or seeing you have low quality content and then jumping straight off back onto Google and finding a competitor resource instead, that will lower your rankings. That will hurt you in the long run. So make sure that your content is easily digestible when people jump onto it. The other thing is, well, when you're writing your content, you also need to optimize all the meta tags around that, okay? So use a plugin like Yoast. It's free. You can easily download it on WordPress, for example. And you need to make sure that your URL, your meta title, your meta description, and your keyword density are all optimized when it comes to publishing your content. So sure, writing your article is important, but also optimizing the on-page SEO elements of your content is important too. And if you need more tips on that, drop a comment below and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. Now, finally, it's time to promote your content, right? Because creating your content is great, planning it is great, but if you don't build backlinks to your content, you won't rank on Google. And in fact, if you type in any keyword these days, you'll see that the top ranking results have backlinks already. So it's super important to build backlinks to your content, otherwise it will not rank. And this is the fastest way to get results, to get ranking on number one on Google. In fact, you know, with the examples of websites I gave before of cheaperbirds.com and datingsidekicks.com, I built backlinks to these sites. This was one of the most important tasks for ranking my website. So if you want to rank number one on Google, then you need to build backlinks to your content too. Now, how do I suggest you do that? Well, first thing I would do is when you publish any piece of content, make sure you promote it to other websites in your industry. If you can reach out to other webmasters who own websites similar to yours, and you can say, hey, I notice you talk about X topic quite often, maybe you want to mention my article too because I think your audience would love it, then chances are you will get a few backlinks to your website. And this is super easy to do. It only takes like 10, 20, 30 minutes a day, but it will pay off in the long run. And the problem is as well, if you don't build backlinks to your content, your competitors will, and they'll just outrank you. So it's super important to promote your content. In fact, a lot of people say that you should do the 80-20 rule, right? So you spend 20% of your time creating and writing the content and 80% promoting it. And this is why so many companies hire my link building agency to build backlinks for them, because it saves them time, it gets some results, and this is the fastest way to rank number one on Google. It's kind of like, for me personally, I'm a musician. I love to write music, and I've seen so many talented musicians that didn't get anywhere with their music because they didn't promote it. They didn't go out there and show other people their music. And the problem is, if you just sit there, you've created content, but you don't promote it, you won't get anywhere. Same with music, same with SEO. So it's super important to make sure you promote every piece of content you publish on your website. So thanks for watching, guys. That's my blueprint on exactly how to write content that ranks number one on Google with SEO. If you have any questions, let me know. By the way, I do run a link building agency. That's at juliangoldie.com. Feel free to jump onto the website and book in a free consultation call where we'll look at your website, analyze your results, and teach you exactly how to build backlinks to your website that will increase your rankings, get you more traffic, and outrank your competitors. Thanks for watching.